Giannis Antetokounmpo has been one of the most disrespected players by the NBA media over the last 5 years, but for every critical take on his game, Giannis has responded on each occasion. This is every time Giannis proved the media wrong. Coming off of his best year yet in the 2017 to 2018 NBA season, Giannis Antetokounmpo was prepared to take yet another leap in his production. The first 5 years of his career was nothing but steady progression and improvement from a role player to a star, but the next leap was MVP contention. And he began the 2018 to 2019 season like a true MVP candidate, putting up over 26 points on 58% shooting, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, to go with 1 steal and 1 block a game during the first 3 months of the season. Along with the Bucks' success, he became the early favorite to win the 2019 MVP award, but according to the great basketball player Ryan Hollins, Giannis just wasn't MVP level.
He's not the MVP. To me, when you talk MVP, that means you're the most valuable player on the team. Your impact is the largest. And when I watch Giannis, yes, he rebounds, he blocks shots, he defends, he does all those little things. I love what he does. I love him. But he's not going to close out a game for you. He's not going to go out and win that big game. It's Bledsoe. It's Middleton. Those guys are closing the games out. For me, I can't put you in that MVP candidacy unless you're closing games. I just can't give you that type of credit.
The numbers he's putting up are, regardless of the fact he can't shoot, he's shooting 58% from the field. And there's no way. Hey, stop it.
Man, keep cooking, Jay. All he does is run and dunk. That doesn't take skill. Then stop it, bitch. And the whole thing with Giannis not being a closer was always such a tiring and untrue narrative. Eric Bledsoe getting closer talk is just hilarious to me, man, because the only thing he was closing in Milwaukee was the door to an NBA championship. But the non-MVP caliber player Giannis Antetokounmpo would finish the season averaging 27, 12, and 6 with elite defense, leading the Bucks to the NBA's best record. What a surprise, he wins the MVP award and Ryan Hollins is enraged, but forget that, it's playoff time. What does Ryan Hollins have to say now?
Ryan, top-seeded Bucks, they taking the East?
No, man, are you kidding me? The Bucks are not going to make it out the second round. They got to see the Boston Celtics in the second round. Do you understand that? When you look at Giannis, I love him. MVP candidate.
Oh, for real?
You know that doesn't work in the playoffs, right?
What?
You don't just go dunk on everybody in the playoffs. It doesn't work.
Man, this is even funnier to watch in 2022, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Giannis and the Bucks dominated round 1 against the Pistons as expected, as Detroit got Antetokounmpo swept. But in round 2, we got the matchup that Ryan Hollins said was going to be the one that the Bucks just couldn't get past. This was Boston. Game 1, Boston dominated. Giannis was cooked. It was so bad that Paul Pierce has something to say.
I don't know where Milwaukee goes from here because
Whoa. So is this over?
No, listen, I think it's over.
But this didn't age well because 4 straight Milwaukee Buck wins. Giannis averages 28 points on 52% shooting. We move. In the conference finals, the Bucks will face Toronto, who had one of the best defenses in recent history, and they keyed in on Giannis to take them out in 6 games. I guess this was enough for Ryan Hollins to call him the most overrated player in the NBA.
I remember somebody talking about how Giannis was going to dunk his way through the playoffs and yada, yada, yada. Listen. This man is right now, he's the most overrated in basketball. Is he a good basketball player? Yeah, I love him. I like him.
I'm sick. You are a hater. You go from hating on Kawhi to hating on Giannis. Giannis isn't overrated.
He's absolutely overrated.
Proceed. Tell me how he's overrated.
Okay. You guys put this man essentially in the NBA Finals this year. 60, whatever win season. He went to the conference finals. Balled out.
You 2 wins away from the finals.
Hold it, chill.
MVP of the league, most likely.
You put him in the NBA Finals. He did not make it there. Not just did he not make it, he grossly underachieved. Grossly.
But enough of you, Mr. Hollins. We'll get back to you later. By the way, this guy's career as an analyst was actually shorter than his career as a starting center, which is honestly impressive. The 2019 to 2020 NBA season was another success for Antetokounmpo, winning his 2nd MVP award and getting the Defensive Player of the Year award to go with it. You know, something that only Michael Jordan and Hakeem Olajuwon have done. But in the second round of the 2020 playoffs, they faced the Miami Heat, and it was more postseason disappointment in Milwaukee. They lose in 5 with Giannis suffering a season-ending ankle injury in Game 4. And with Giannis' contract year coming up, you already know what time it is. The media is gonna go crazy with the rumors, continuing to push the idea of him leaving the small market Bucks for another team like Miami or Golden State. Former NBA player Steven Jackson got in on the conversation too.
I knew that was gonna happen, bro. He has to leave. He has to leave, bro. Nobody's going to Milwaukee. I've been there. I played there.
Nobody.
And I only played a couple games. I was trying to get traded. Actually, Matt, I told him I didn't stop going to games. I just stayed at home until they traded me. That's how bad it was there.
Y'all heard him, he has to leave, and this is what all the national media was pushing for, but Giannis wasn't having it.
It's not often that a true NBA superstar stays in a small market. You can think back to maybe Tim Duncan 20 years ago. I mean, but that's exactly what Giannis did today, agreeing to this supermax with Milwaukee.
After the offseason, Milwaukee just had Giannis was believing in his team even more, and he was already loyal to the franchise. And in the 2020 to 2021 NBA season, he had a promise to deliver on and a list of people to prove wrong that would only continue to grow. It was yet another MVP caliber season for Giannis Antetokounmpo, leading the new look Bucks to the 3rd seed in the East. Their first round matchup would be the Miami Heat, the same team that eliminated them in 5 games the year prior, but this series went completely different. A 4-0 sweep by the Bucks featuring a Bryn Forbes shooting masterclass. But going into round 2, there was yet another questionable take about Giannis.
I don't have Giannis in my top 10 most valuable. I'll give you my list. Tell me where I'm wrong. Kevin Durant. 32 a game, 55% shooting. He is unstoppable. Now, where's Giannis on this? Where do you want me to put Giannis? And I'm not anti-Giannis, but where do you want me to put him in terms of value? Late in games, none of these players late in games I feel are a liability. Giannis is with 4 minutes to go.
I was gonna say something like you cannot be serious, but then I remembered it's Colin Cowherd and he's never been serious a day in his life. Still one of the worst takes ever made, but it was time for round 2 between Milwaukee and Brooklyn. The Nets would take a 2-0 lead in the series, but Milwaukee would defend home court to even it up. Durant had a masterclass Game 5 to go up 3-2, but the Bucks responded to force Game 7, and then they took Game 7 in overtime to advance. They would face the Atlanta Hawks in the conference finals, taking a 2-1 lead in this series before Giannis would suffer a gruesome injury in Game 4 that looked to be season ending. It was time for everyone else to step up and deliver for Milwaukee, and they absolutely did to make the NBA finals. By the way, that gruesome injury, yeah, somehow a week later this fucking guy was playing in the NBA finals. He's actually not real. But these 2 wins without Giannis would certainly become ammunition for narrative. Kendrick Perkins was eating this up. And after the Bucks Game 4 win to tie up the series in the 2021 NBA Finals, where Middleton dropped a 40-point game, it was the perfect opportunity for Perkins to set up his agenda.
Well, Molly, I've been waiting on this moment all series long, right? For Game 4, like last night, when it comes down to a possession-by-possession game, when it matters the most, who you put your money on? Money-making Middleton, the Batman, the closer, the guy that's going to get you those buckets, the guy that embraces that moment. And the world knows it. Giannis knows it. Stephen A knows it. And Max knows it, right?
Just want to remind you all, before this game, Giannis dropped back-to-back 40-point double-doubles with Middle Batman putting on a masterful brick session in one of those. And then to follow that up, Giannis had, just a 32-point Game 5 and then 50 to close out the series and win an NBA championship. Middleton had a great series as a number 2, but that's what he was, a number 2, while Giannis was putting on a show, having one of the greatest finals performances of all time. But simultaneously, all of those previous takes on Giannis and the Bucks no longer had any relevance at all. The media tried to force him out, but he stayed and brought a championship to this small market team, and the funniest part of this to me is that Steven Jackson had the nerve to call this 2021 Bucks team a super team.
He's on a super team. You got Jrue Holiday, you got a closer in Middleton. He's the most dominant player that I've seen in a long time, and I got to give him his credit. But he has a closer. He has a closer. Same thing, just like Shaq had. Shaq was the most dominant, but he had a closer in Kobe. And you have Jrue Holiday, one of the best defenders in the game. So don't make it seem like your team is just a whole bunch of D-leaguers. You have one D-leaguer that's an all-star now. So you have a super team. You might not have super names and guys that's selling tennis shoes, but you have a super team. Don't diminish your teammates.
This right here is called over-dramatization. In what world are G-leaguers and a super team even on the same spectrum? What was he cooking? But I know y'all remember Ryan Hollins. I mean, how can we forget? After all his terrible Giannis takes, he couldn't even apologize.
He had 50 in the closeout game. None of us question that.
Are you going to apologize?
I know you want me to apologize. I have no apology.
Are you going to apologize? No. Before you
I have no apology.
No. Hold on. Shaq, B. Wood, Ryan, are you going to fucking apologize like I did for disrespecting Giannis? You still haven't gave Giannis a public apology.
I give him his respect. 2 years ago, I said he wasn't that dude. He wasn't that dude 2 years ago.
Nah, this guy is crazy, but shout out to Perk though. He's really repping Giannis now. He sees the greatness and he respects it. After becoming an NBA champion and winning in the way that he did with that pure dominance, you would assume that nobody else would have anything to say about Giannis. But the media was still not convinced that he was the best player in the league. And you know what? I'll even admit that I still thought Kevin Durant had a slight edge over him as the best player in the world to start the season. However, that wouldn't last too long. But before the KD and Giannis talk, Stephen A says something more stupid than you can ever imagine.
Stephen A, would you rather have Ja or Giannis in these playoffs?
I gotta tell you. Listen, Giannis is an obvious answer. Let me say this to you. Let Ja Morant keep ascending. And I might go with Ja. I think it's a discussion. Giannis is he's gonna dominate everybody that's smaller and weaker. I get that. But what Ja Morant can do, Lord have mercy. I gotta tell you. I can't sit up there and definitively say I'd rather have Giannis come playoff time at this moment.
This shouldn't even be entertained. Ja isn't even on the same tier as Giannis. Why is this a segment? What the hell is going on at ESPN? But Stephen A continues to stand his ground on Giannis. Michael Wilbon and Jalen Rose both agreed that Giannis is the best player in the world right now, and Stephen A was losing his mind.
Listen, you can't trust Wilbon, you can't trust Jalen. They got that Midwest thing going on where they collaborate with one another all the time. I'm not going for that. You know good and well Giannis ain't KD. Let's pump the brakes now. Like, Giannis is great. He's phenomenal.
What is it that
he
Giannis
ain't Kevin Durant.
Yeah, Stephen A, you're right. He ain't no Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant ain't no Giannis. You can take that as you wish. The notorious hater Skip Bayless felt the same way as Stephen A as well.
Is Giannis now separating himself from the rest of the league as the best player on the planet?
We had this conversation at the start of the year. Everybody was talking about KD and this guy and that guy. Who did I say was the best player in the NBA, Skip?
And you were wrong.
Yeah,
You're wrong now.
Old freak.
Yep.
Old Greek freak.
You have no idea how wrong you are about this. This isn't even close because when Kevin Durant comes back, that 7-foot monster that he is, it ain't even close between him and Giannis or him and anybody else on this planet. He is far and away the best player on this planet.
And if that wasn't enough, he would double down.
Giannis Antetokounmpo is the best player in the NBA, and he did nothing to dispel that. In his last 5 games, head-to-head against Kevin Durant, Giannis is 5-0. He's averaging 35, 13, and 6. He's plus 81. Kevin Durant is minus 67.
I'm going to give you this. It was not Kevin Durant's best game. He is mortal, he's human, and he didn't have a great one. But he had a pretty good one because he did a lot of good things. And yet, Giannis did come through, but he shockingly came through because it was completely out of character for him to come through because he's not the closer and he was forced into the closer role because Middleton got tossed.
If the regular season didn't prove enough that Giannis was the NBA's best player, Kevin Durant would prove it himself in the playoffs with his disaster class against Boston. The same Boston team that Giannis averaged 34 a game against, taking them to 7 with his best teammate Chris Middleton aka Batman missing the entire series. Giannis wasn't the only one proving NBA media wrong this season though. Click this video to see the incredible return of the Golden State Warriors, who many doubted would make it back.